What's happening, everybody? The Zelda Religionist here yet again for a new topic of discussion. So, one of my biggest questions as far as the Zelda games go, what's with the Zelda 2 hate? I mean, it's not a bad game at all. Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link for the NES is one of my favorite Zelda games, actually. It's fun. It's brutally hard. But aside from that, it's enjoyable when you're not getting pissed off. But aside from rage quitting or the difficulty or anything, it's a solid game. So why does everyone hate it? This is a true story. This actually happened to me. One of my former friends, we was having a discussion one day about Zelda games and such, and Zelda 2 came up in the discussion. I'm quoting him, okay? He said Zelda 2 is not a real Zelda game. Okay, how does that make sense? Look at the box art and the label. It says Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. That's a Zelda title. It has Zelda on the box. He's saying it's not a true Zelda game. Of course, I asked why. His real answer was, it's side-scrolling, so it's not a true Zelda game. Okay, it's not 100% side-scrolling. Yeah, that's where your action is, and your main plot of the game, and your temples and such, it's mainly side-scrolling, but you do have an overworld that you walk around in, and it is overhead. So, you're wrong on that. It's not 100% side-scrolling, but you're saying because it's a side-scrolling Zelda game, it's not a true Zelda game. Link's Awakening had side-scrolling sections. You're going to say that's not a true Zelda game? The Oracle games, Oracle of Seasons and Ages, I'm pretty sure both have side-scrolling sections in them. Now, yeah, there's sections. I get that. Temples and battles count as sections. So those are the only sections where you have side-scrolling, and the villages and such. How's that an argument? Do you see the point I'm trying to make here? That's not a valid argument. You can't say Zelda 2 is not a Zelda game because it has side-scrolling. That's just retarded. Like, that is literally a bullshit answer. And funny thing was, he wasn't making a joke or anything. He was dead serious. That's what he said and what he believes. Zelda 2 is not a true Zelda game because it's side-scrolling. That doesn't mean shit. Zelda 2. Think about that title. Zelda 2. It's the second Zelda game ever made. Therefore, there was no standard yet. Now, standard in a Zelda game is third person over the shoulder, not directly over the shoulder, but third person, overhead, or over back head, whatever you want to call it. You're looking down or behind Link the whole time. And that is the standard for Zelda games. But back then, that game originally released February 21st, 1986 in Japan. We got it later in August 1987, I believe. That's only after the original Zelda game came out for the NES as well. So there's two Zelda games on the NES that back then was the only two Zelda games ever made. There was no standard yet, okay? So it's called experimentation that we've seen in such other games. Like when Super Mario came to the 64 and it was in full 3D. And that had only been a side-scrolling series. And it became full 3D overworld. No one ever complained about that. It became one of the greatest games ever made. No one complained when once yet again the Legend of Zelda series took another turn and became 3D from 2D. And 2D is in the overhead view on the NES and the Game Boy and such, and Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo. That was all overhead, and you saw, like, it was sky view basically. No one complained when Ocarina of Time came out, and it was full 3D overworld, and was an amazing game, by the way. And but it was no longer the overhead 2D Skyview, it was full 3D open world, well, open world for the time, and was in the third person. But yet when they tried a new technique with Zelda 2, people got angry. Apparently. People say that's a bad Zelda game. Have you freaking played it? It's good. But mainly the argument I hear is because it was a side-scrolling Zelda game, so it's not a Zelda game. That doesn't make sense, people. That's not an argument. That's a very flawed and stupid opinion, if you want me to get technical about it. But why do people hate it? I don't understand. If you're watching this video and you don't like Zelda 2, give me a legit solid reason why. Don't say it's side-scrolling, I hate it because it's not a Zelda game. You need help, if that's your argument. But yeah, Zelda 2 is actually, it's in my top 10 Zelda games, at least, because I don't have them numerically placed, and I don't have a favorite yet, because I love them all so much. That's why I made this show. So, Zelda 2 is in my top 10. It's fun. I enjoy it personally. I like the side-scrolling segments. I love that they did something new. Back then I was trying something new to see how it worked. It was an experiment. It was something new. They was trying to... they was just trying other things. But it didn't suck because of it. You can't say the side-scrolling killed Zelda 2, because it didn't, because that's all Zelda 2 is for the majority of its gameplay. That's where most of your action comes in, and I think it worked. I really do. I think it worked. Now, that doesn't give you an excuse to say it's so damn hard that you die a lot and you have to rage quit on it because you can't play it because you constantly die. That I can understand, because it's a very difficult game. I'm not going to deny that. I've beat it maybe twice. Maybe once, actually. I can't remember. But I've played through it. Like, I've played it multiple times, but I've only beaten through it once. When you get to that final palace, that's all downhill from there in difficulty. It is so hard. You have to be at the top of your game if you're going to save that Zelda in that game and climb the Triforce and beat Ganon's ghost. And, like, it's hard. It's really damn hard. But a good enough challenge if you played enough to get your skill level up and be able to become good at the game. Which, I'm not saying I'm good, but I'm passably decent. I can get through the majority of it without a problem. Until I get to that final palace where it's just like, well, here I am. You may do what you want. And that's basically how it is anytime you get to the Great Palace in Zelda 2. Just pull your pants down, let whatever happens going to happen. Back to Ocarina, it did a whole new thing. It tried something new. It went to 3D overworld, and it was awesome. And the gameplay was magnificent. The story was incredible. And I'm not the only one to ever gush about Ocarina of Time, because you ask any Zelda fan, majority of the time, 97% of the time, they're going to say Ocarina of Time is their favorite. Rightfully so. I have no argument against that. It's a great Zelda game, and a great game in general. But I won't say it's my favorite, but I love it a lot. And, come to think of it, the ending to Ocarina of Time, the climax ending, it's very awesome. And here, actually, why don't you tune in next time? We'll talk about the ending of Ocarina of Time, and we'll discuss why it's so awesome and what exactly happens point for point in the Ocarina of Time ending. Keep in mind, though, for that next episode, there's gonna be a lot of spoilers. I'm just gonna go ahead and warn you. Zelda 2, it tries something new, gets heavily criticized for it. Ocarina of Time, tries something new, gets praised for it. Why? There's not a difference at all. They're two new, for the time when they came out, there was two new Zelda games, both trying something new, but yet one was well received while the other was terribly received by a majority of people. Explain that to me. I want you to think about that, and I want you to give me a legit answer of why. Why it was not well received because of its side-scrolling. So if you've not played Zelda 2 yet, if you're avoiding that one because of what you hear, screw what you hear. You have to form your own opinion of the game. How do you do that? By playing it. You hear things about games. You hear reviews and such, and they're there to just give their opinions and what they think of the game. That's not why you should form your own opinion of the game. You can't base your opinion off other people's opinions. That's not how it works. Especially with the Zelda series. If you're going to be a fan of that game, you've got to play every single one and definitely form an opinion about it. You do have my permission, though, to skip Phantom Hourglass if you want. You still want to, if you want to play it, highly bless you if you play Phantom Hourglass. It's not bad, story-wise. But man, that's too much to talk about right now. If you really want to know what happens in Phantom Hourglass, just take it from me. Read the manga, okay? Yeah, it's not canon. None of the Zelda mangas are canon. That doesn't stop them from being good. So just read the manga for Phantom Hourglass. And then just steer clear of the game. So next time we're going to talk about Ocarina's ending in full detail. So I'm excited for that one. It's going to be great because the ending of Ocarina is so damn good. So until then, this is the Zelda Religionist. You guys take care. Highly a bliss.